What's up, everybody? Welcome to another Art of War stream here on YouTube. I'm John Lennon.
I think I'm Jack Harpster. I'm Jack Harpster, right?
That's Jack Harpster.
Hey! Look at him. He's up there, not over here.
Totally not. Definitely not here.
Definitely not right there.
All right, everyone. We are here for my favorite stream of the week. We are here for the tier list. Everyone loves tier lists.
I love tier lists.
I love tier lists, right? You love tier lists?
I love tier lists.
You love tier lists.
Tier lists are fun.
I am so glad to hear you say that.
A combination of strong opinions, empirical data, facts, numbers, letter grades.
There is nothing...
Saltiness.
There is nothing besides facts that are going to be happening here. Not a single thing that's not a fact. We're going to be talking tiers. We're going to be putting every single army in the game in a tier list. Jack, I'm so pumped. I'm
pumped. All right.
Yes. I am ready for this. So oh man, there's so much to talk about. So first of all, let's kind of agree on what a tier list is, right? When you're ranking these
Webster's
armies,
dictionary defines a tier list.
I will smite you where you stand. So really though, I want to know where you, first of all, what are you considering when you're putting an army in a tier list? What are you thinking about here?
I think it's mostly about how, played well, the ideal power level. There are some armies that anyone can do decently with.
Sure.
And then there's some armies that are only good if you play them correctly. And I think you want to look at the overall maximum potential power level for each codex, and then after that you take into account matchups, because matchups do determine tier levels.
Yeah,
they will.
So really will. I look at a couple things. First of all, I look at what the possible ceiling is, right? You got to account for what the best this army can be is, but I also try to keep in mind the median, where if there's one army that one person does really well with and no one else can make it work, that's not the same as an army that also wins big events and then a ton of people go top 3 with.
Sure, you're really attacking my Blood Angels right out of the gate, but sure. I think that ideally there should be a roughly even range between A and D. Like there should be a roughly even amount. Yeah. Maybe kind of a bell curve sort of look. Yeah, and S should be for things that are just outside of the tier list. Like they transcend the tier list.
Transcend the tiers there. Well, someone's going in S. Someone is going in S tier. Yes, Raziel, we will be downing the unders.
Several someones, I think, are going in S tier.
There will be several. Yep. Tim Pinney's already dropping his predictions in the chat. We'll see how those bear out. There's a lot to talk about. Those are the things I consider. I don't want to just talk about like what's the ceiling. Because I think for some armies that's not fair. Where it's like, they did a lot in the middle. But we'll kind of get to that. We'll get to them case by case.
I would just go off of the best player playing that army. What is the absolute potential of the army? Okay,
fair enough. So we're also looking mainly at singles play here.
Yeah, this is actually an interesting question from El Kukui. Can one list really carry a whole factions ranking, or are you guys putting factions that can only play one way lower than armies that can play hard in many ways? I would say that flexibility does play a factor because it lets you adapt to changing meta conditions, but I would say that's less than what the maximum power damage output.
I'm mostly considering the top. So we have some armies that are going to place probably pretty well that are notorious for a single style build. We'll talk about Nemesis Dread Knights later.
Yes.
The fact that you don't see Grey Knight Storm Ravens often they did win in GT. One did. That does not diminish them in my eyes for this power ranking. Is the fact that their second best list is a mile below the top list. That's not going to lower it for me when I'm putting it in a spot.
The flexibility, the problem that is caused by a lack of flexibility is only an issue if it's an issue. If it's not actually a problem, then it doesn't matter if you're not flexible in 100%. Terms of list design if you just are winning anyway.
Yep. All right. Well, I'm ready to start slamming some armies down.
Yeah, the general points value we're going off of is 2,000 because that's what we're familiar with. Now things do get more powerful when you get to 1,000. Things do get more powerful when you get to 3,000. But generally, 2,000 points is generally considered the competitive standard. Although there are events that run other things, and that's very interesting to me. but right now we're going off of 2K.
Absolutely. So Tim Pinney's given us a $5 super chat. Thank you so much, Tim. We always appreciate you. Tier 1 for Tim is the Big Four. Tier 2 is Nids and Everyone with a ninth book. Tier 3 is Necrons by themselves. Oh, goodness.
All right, so we've actually wrapped up our tier list.
Thank you so much, Tim.
Thank you. This has been a great honor, and we will catch you guys next time.
All right. We're just kidding. Let's launch into it. You ready for this? All right, so
we may have to add or subtract tiers later on.
Maybe.
Depending if we end up with a big glut.
Yeah. Oh, and we are doing 2,000 points here. We're going 2,000 points, strike force, matched play, competitive, the most standard tournament format that we see.
Rule of 3, maximum 3 detachments, etc., etc.
Absolutely. So let's kick it off. Yeah. So let's just start off with Space Marines.
Where else do we start but Space Marines?
You got to start with Space Marines. So let's...
Space Marines with no frills attached are B tier codex.
Yeah.
There's no way they're C.
They have it. They're definitely not. C is not in the question. I think
C is not in the question.
I think S is not in the question.
Right. I'd say A is not. I mean, maybe later on we see stuff going into A and we're like, hey, maybe Marines with no faction specific upgrades goes in A, but I don't.
I think generic. I think you're right. I think generic Marines are pretty in the middle. They're not bad.
They're not bad. They're solid.
Yeah.
They're without any kind of supplement or anything. They're okay.
Yeah,
they're fine.
And I think, we'll obviously break down the different factions.
They have rights of war.
They have rights of war.
They have rights of war.
Rights of war.
So they can't be worse than B tier. They have rights of war.
Rights of war and a Redemptor Dreadnought carries you to B tier by themselves.
Contemptor too.
Contemptor too.
Redemptor, Vanguard Vets.
I do love Eternal Duty.
Yeah. So that list builds itself.
Yeah.
At this point.
I'm okay with Space Marines at B tier. We'll probably adjust things. Like, I'm willing to bet someone's going to go in A tier. We're going to finish it out and be like, maybe they are B tier. We'll maybe do the same thing with C. Like, are they really as bad?
These can all change as things go. They're not.
But let's keep going. So we started Loyal. Let's go Chaos. Next up, I think we start with Chaos Demons. So Demons is a hard one. We've seen a couple of monster mash lists do well.
Yes, you can
Triple Keeper and Be'lakor got top 8 at SoCal, and it was 6-0 to that point, so it's 6-1. They got a top 8 at the GW Orlando Open. We just had Mark Aisht on the podcast to talk about that list actually.
Yeah.
But there definitely is a feel for me that there is a ceiling on how high this list can go, where it feels like there's a couple of things where it's like, yeah, but what about all of these, AdMech planes, or like some of these things that are S that just hard keep them down.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, I was impressed.
Yeah. Be'lakor has been actually a really nice addition to them. Better than I expected.
Be'lakor's been a big shot in the arm for sure. Mm-hmm. Also, the summoning list.
Yeah, we see summoning, like we've seen Beast and Nurgle win tournaments, but then that kind of faded out when Dreadnoughts got popular. We've seen summoning lists that actually make some good use.
I think Brian Malpass was taking a summoning based list to
Crucible.
Yeah. He did pretty good there. Mm-hmm. It's actually a pretty big menace into Grey Knights.
You bring back the whole thing? Yeah.
Because here's what you do. It's pretty great. You take like a 30-man squad of pinks, right? You put in your list. It gets killed. But when it gets killed, it splits into 60 blue horrors and then 60 brimstones. And then what you do is you spend 2 CP and you bring 150 models back, and then you drink their tears.
Just the Grey Knight matchup does not make me feel confident in that. Also, they could just not kill the unit. They just neuter it. Like, there's options here.
There certainly are options.
So I'm of the opinion Demons are capping at B tier, and we're talking about C tier.
I think they're C tier.
You think C?
I think they're C tier.
Okay. I think they're going to end up being one of the higher C tier books. They're not bad. Not bad, but I don't think it's...
They're not great.
I don't think it's...
They're not doing great.
They're not doing great. I think it's the only one specific build, and pilot skill goes a long way. It's a very cool list, but I think it has some weaknesses. All right.
Custodes are actually really interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I think that they're okay. They're probably B tier, but right now they have a bunch of surprisingly good matchups, especially into the top armies.
I know you've actually been very high on Custodes lately.
Yeah, I'm probably playing them to Warzone. I only have to submit my list today.
You do have 11 hours to decide that.
Yeah, so anything can happen. Mm-hmm. But they have some really good matchups into armies that will later on end up in S and A tier.
Yeah.
So I actually think right now Custodes are a pretty good shoe-in for A tier.
A tier, we're thinking?
I think A tier. They have good matchups into the field.
I always hate saying that Custodes are better than Marines. Like, I don't... that always bothers me. But also, you know what? Recently, Custodes have been putting up results. I think they got a large GT or a major victory recently. They've gotten a bunch of top 4s.
I don't want to spoil any part of our list ahead of time, but the fact that Custodes have one of the only matchups into Orks where you can go second and be okay is like...
There's not many.
That jumps them up a tier by itself in my estimation.
Let's go A tier for Custodes. Let's put it in.
I think so.
All right.
Oh, no, Tau.
Next up, we've got Tau.
Tau
are...
If they're not D tier, then what is?
Well, okay, there's a few. So they're definitely not B. That's out of the question.
That's out of the question.
I think we could argue for like the bottom of C because as we do this, we're going to put them in order as we get more in each tier.
Yes.
I'm actually 100% okay putting Tau in D tier.
Yeah, just roll 4s. Custodes, if you just roll 4s, you can't lose.
Oh my god.
You just can't lose.
You can't do it, yeah.
Everything's OBSEC, nothing dies, like...
You hate that. So, okay, I'm alright putting Tau in D tier. I still think, there's...
We can bump it up if we're like other armies.
Siegler has made them work, but he also hasn't tried since AdMech came out, and I cannot imagine that the introduction of AdMech and Grey Knights has made his list better.
Oh, no.
It cannot.
Yeah, that's not...
Also, Orks, I can't imagine that made his life easier.
Yeah. Oh, all the Strength 7 missiles? Yeah, they're in D. They're in D.
Yeah,
they're in D.
Yeah, they're in D.
Sorry.
Sorry, Games Workshop has
Ramshackle is a rule that just keeps some armies down.
No kidding. All right, well, let's talk about an army that's a little more up. Sisters of Battle.
Sisters of Battle are very solid.
They're very solid. They've got a couple of hard matchups at top, I think.
Yeah, they're the opposite
still really
of Custodes.
Good. Yeah, they're like an army.
They're like a... Yeah, sorry. Continue.
Oh, yeah, I was just going to say, like, I think that they're fighting in a maybe top of B. I don't think that they're S. I think that they're A tier, and I'm actually kind of willing to put them ahead of Custodes. I really like Sisters.
I think they're really good. I think they're natively like an A tier army, but their matchups into the top 4 are the opposite of Custodes.
I think
their matchups are bad.
Yeah, so we're definitely... I think they're going in A.
Yeah.
I think we're both in agreement on that.
Oh, for sure.
The question is versus Custodes here. So
I'd much rather take
again, we can argue this one a little bit more once we've got some of the S tier armies down, but I think that Custodes probably do better into specifically Orks by a large margin. Yeah. Where Sisters feel like they really don't hang with a lot of the current Orc stuff, and Custodes at least have a good amount of play. Nothing's automatic, but they have some play. So, all right, I'm willing to put Sisters A tier below Custodes right now.
I think that's accurate.
Okay. We're gonna work our way into the first of the Marine supplements.
First Marine supplement.
Ultramarines. You know where I like to start. So Ultramarines, I had them quite high the last time we did a tier list.
Yes, and I still think they're good. Their matchups have not gotten better.
Yeah, I think that they're very good. When I was really running them a lot, they were fantastic into Drukhari. They had really good matchups into the rest of the field. They dominated most of the meta armies at the time.
Yeah.
Just insane amount of shooting, good tricks, good redeploy, enough combat to put people off. Ultramarines were very strong, and they were a very good Marine chapter. As the meta has shifted, the Ultramarine playstyle of applying a metric ton of Strength 7 damage 2 downfield has really fallen off.
It has.
Grey Knights have a good enough armor save. Dread Knights with a 1-up unfortunately bounce a lot of AP 1 and 2. And then Ramshackle is great into things like Suppressors and Invictors and Contemptors. So
I think they were pretty good shoo-in for A tier last time, but I think now they're in B.
I think they're B. I think they're going to end up a little better than your average Space Marine army. But I do think that Ultramarines have dropped a little bit down to B tier.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Which is sad because Ultramarines are cool and you love your Ultra memes.
I do.
John loves his Ultramarines.
I do love my Ultramarines. So let's go Guard. Guard need a codex, but they did just get the Cadian supplement.
They did just get the Cadian
supplement. So we'll be accounting for that. We're not going to do a separate Cadian ranking here.
Yeah. The main issue I see with Guard is that they have one thing that they're good at, which is a mean shooting phase once.
Yeah.
And then as soon as they get touched, like, you go forward, they shoot you pretty hard, and then either they kill you or they don't. Yeah. And they actually hit pretty hard.
And if they go first and they get 2 shooting phases, that can be deadly for a lot of people. I think that's pretty rough. I'm gonna put Guard D tier ahead of Tau.
I would put them in bottom of C.
Bottom of C maybe? I'm willing to do bottom of C. They have good ally potential, which Tau obviously just doesn't acknowledge.
Yeah. They find their way into Custodes lists a lot.
They find their way, they've got Scions for secondary play. They've got some good things. They just, they really like the complete package. The first time someone reads Morvain's Agonizer to a Guard player, you can see them double over in pain. It's like
that's a lost game every single time Morvain's Agonizer hits anything. The game ends on the spot. You can actually look at the rules. That's what it reads. Against everyone else, here's the text that it has. Against Guard, as soon as you hit,
boom,
game ends. Just done.
Yikes.
Tempestus Scions are definitely A tier.
I do love Scions.
Scions are really cool.
I have a lot of Scions for when the time comes. When we get that sweet, sweet Guard Codex one day.
They are. They're really cool. I would love to play Scions. They
Yeah, Tim, the B tier book next to Ultramarines is the Space Marine Codex.
It's just Space Marines with no, just as a generic Space Marines, no fluff, no frills Marines.
Yep. All right, let's keep going down the line. We've got Chaos Knights.
Yeah.
Chaos Knights.
That is going in D tier, my dude.
You think D?
Yeah.
Okay.
So the main reason Chaos Knights suck is because of the wording of their rules. The best knight at the moment, and the reason Imperial Knights is above Chaos Knights, the best knight is the Knight Megara.
Definitely the best, Titanic. 100%.
Yes, best Titanic one.
Not even a question.
And the Knight Megara, in the Chaos Knight section of the book, has the keyword Questoris class. This will become important later. Questoris class is not a recognized keyword in the Chaos Knights book. Did the Questoris class, did the Imperial Armor Supplement, did the Forge World book come out after Chaos Knights? Yes. Did they not put in the correct keywords? Yes. Has this been changed? No. So that means you can't put any relics or warlord traits on any of them except for one. And one is not enough. And so that's kind of rough.
Yep.
That's not where it's at, my guy.
It's the worst.
It is the worst. And the other thing that hurts it is you can't take a Freeblade Lance, and Freeblade Lance is the best way to play regular knights. You can't take a Freeblade Lance, and when you look at the Dreadblade traits, they're all the same as the Freeblade traits, except guess which one you're missing, John?
Obsec.
You're missing Obsec.
Yeah.
So you can't make, because in regular Imperial Knights, you can make 3 Megaras Obsec, and you can't do it here.
Yeah.
So if that gets fixed, like if you can take relics and warlord traits on them, on Megaras,
I'm sure they'll get a codex soon.
I'm sure they'll get a codex soon.
One of the things Chaos Knights does better than Imperial, which I just feel like mentioning,
that's true,
is they do armigers better, because they can overcharge their armigers if they do the one of their 2 subtypes. And if you put that with more axes, a Lightning Lock is really good. Really good. A Strength 7 damage 2 Lightning Lock is much better.
Very, very
much better. A Megara that overheats its big gun to be Strength 8 damage 4 is much better.
Very relevant in today's meta. I was actually thinking about taking Knights as Chaos Knights. I read through the whole book, and then I came to the conclusions I have now.
Yep.
But one thing I worry about is because you do D3 mortal wounds to yourself.
Every time.
Every single time you activate that. Or 1 if you want to randomly roll it, but you probably don't.
I do not.
So you will find your army kind of melting real fast.
Yep.
It's
like ice in the microwave.
It's a real problem. You shoot twice and all of your guys are at 8 wounds. Like it's not great. Yeah. Also, apparently you can't rotate in combat, which is another thing.
That's 100% true.
Yikes.
All right. Well, let's move on to the next one. This is where we're getting spicy. Adeptus Mechanicus.
Straight to the top. Straight to the top. Oh yeah.
All the way up.
Just in case you're wondering, that's not leaving that spot.
Yeah. No. AdMech is going to be living up in this spot here. They are just so happy, aren't they?
They love being just above everybody else.
They have one of the highest win rates in the game right now. They're floating right in that 60% spot.
Thank God Siegs can't make his weird joke about how, oh look, AdMech, it's only me. I have to deal with this.
Yes, we certainly don't have AdMech winning other majors every weekend and other super majors every month. We certainly don't have that.
He only says that because he knows it annoys me.
That's true. Annoys me too. But we know AdMech's living at the top.
AdMech's relationship with the other broken codices is, oh, you think you're broken. Oh, you think you're broken, buddy. Yeah. Oh, boy.
Mm-hmm. It's a whole thing. Yeah. It's very, very strong.
Yes.
They've got, we know what AdMech
Can we make a new tier, actually? Just AdMech tier?
Somewhere above us. I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, AdMech is... They have one of the best win rates in the game, one of the best 2. They have great top 4s. They have consistent super major domination. They've won, it's November. I believe they've won 3 super majors in the last 2 months. Like, just 3, 8 or 9 no's that they're dropping on people. And along with other GTs and majors, consistently top 4s all the time. We know what AdMech are. They're great at shooting. They're great at combat. They're relatively durable. They're cheap. They've got good tricks. They've got good obsec. They've got good mission plays. They do the whole package.
They're the best combat army. They're the best shooting army. They're the most durable army.
And they're not expensive.
They're not expensive. They're the best MSU army. They're the best Flyers army. They're the best.
Oh, whoa, best flyer army?
Yes.
I mean, they're definitely really good flyers. But like, there is another army that we should talk about right now.
I mean, there's 2 flyer armies right now, and I think AdMech is just.
Are we ready to talk about another?
Is that Orks?
It's Orks.
Can we go back to talking about AdMech? AdMech, I feel like there's player skill. AdMech is...
Oh, that's a little much. I wouldn't say that about AdMech.
That is a little much.
No, I mean, we know where Orks are as well. Orks are definitely at the top.
Yep.
They just took down SoCal in very dramatic fashion.
Yes.
They've done very well. They top 4 in New Orleans. We see that they often have a lot of... They often go close to the top, where like they're really good at getting like 7-1, 8-1. They're better than like a 4-1 build. But I think Orks, I think they are S tier. But I feel like Orks, the builds that we have right now, which is mostly buggies and planes, with a little bit of salt sprinkled on, a little bit of flavor, whatever your personal spice is, you sprinkle that on. Maybe you want a couple of units of bikes, a couple units of burnas, one kind of weird buggy that no one else is taking.
The core remains the same.
The core remains the same, which is usually 4 planes, minimum 6 buggies, a KFF mech, and a war boss on bike or trike, who is going to be good in combat and give off the dreaded speed wog. But those lists are vulnerable to going second against another high firepower army, and now they're a well-known commodity. Everyone knows what Orks do. There was a point where we were still taking our autocannons. Nope.
No longer. No, if you rank armies by what kind of an impact they have on other armies, Orks are 3 tiers above everyone else.
Yeah.
Because every single list you build has to be geared for Orks.
No one is building a list to lose. However, I think that everyone is even more worried about losing on turn 1. And with Orks, they really put that fear into you. And that they've shaped the meta a lot. I still think AdMech is higher. AdMech has a slightly better win rate, and they have more consistent tournament finishes, but Orks are very good. And they are able to punch up against any of the other armies at S tier. So it's not like they're just like the bottom of S tier that loses to the rest of it. They can beat AdMech. But AdMech can beat them.
You have to be worried about any Ork player going first.
Oh my god, yeah. No kidding.
Like there's no, I'll play into AdMech, I'll play into Drukhari, and I'll only have to really worry about it if it's like Brad. Mm-hmm. Right? If it's Siegs or Brad, it's like, okay, now I have to actually take the game seriously. With Orks, it doesn't matter.
No, speed.
Some dude whose favorite crayon flavor is red can just roll up to the table and just start drooling and tabling me, and it doesn't matter.
Are you talking about Tim Penny right now? Tim Penny, what's your favorite crayon flavor?
It's red. It's definitely red.
They apply just massive damage output. The kind of turn 1 brutality that they can put on people, especially going first, notoriously, and even when they go second.
Game ending.
It can be game ending if you're not built for it.
Yes.
And I think you're right. I think people are just shaping their armies based around either I just hope I don't play Orks, or it's I'm changing my life and painting new models so that I don't die to Orks.
Or in what could be like even worse is, well, I can't win going second.
Yeah.
So I will build enough firepower into my list that if I go first, I will cripple Orks. So now you have a bunch of people running around trying to front load damage on people. So now you just have a bunch of lists running around that are Ork adjacent, because everyone's just trying to front load the damage so that they get a 50-50 into Orks at least. Red's his favorite flavor. Orks without freebooters, planes, and buggies is an interesting thought experiment. I would say somewhere in B tier.
Probably the higher end of B.
I would say the lower end of B.
Lower end B. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, it's not
like I haven't seen that yet.
It's not great.
Yeah, I need to play
see
against
a lot of buggies.
I don't play against that.
Yeah.
All right. Moving on, let's knock out a couple Space Marine chapters real quick. There's plenty to go through.
Ooh!
The boys in red. Your favorite flavor of crayon, Jack?
Favorite flavor of crayon.
Blood Angel red. All right, so I'm not going to pretend they're in C tier. I know Blood Angels have a really bad win rate.
Yes.
Really bad win rate.
This is the one where
their win rate is
their win rate's D tier, for sure.
Their win rate is bottom of C, top of D. You, however, have done very well with Blood Angels. You've had not one but 2 top finishes at GTs, or majors, I should say. You've had 2 top 4s with Blood Angels at majors?
Yes.
So like a 5-1, a 7-1, 2 very, very good showings. We're not seeing them anywhere else.
I would say...
What do you want?
I would say with the power level that I see potentially out of the Codex, if you play it right, it is A tier. I'm not even kidding. Like,
I was gonna go bottom of B.
They can't possibly be worse than Marines with no flavor, dude. They can't possibly be.
I mean, I think that I think they're in the bottom half of Space Marine chapters.
They're not. They're top 4 Space Marine chapters. Not a joke. Not kidding. They have the tools to control the board, generate exchanges. Nick will back me up on this, 100%.
Nick, what? That's because he lives in your pocket. You might as well be working him like a puppet. That's how Nick's done. Like, hey,
a little graphic, but sure.
No. We're going Kermit here. We're not.
Oh, Kermit. Yeah.
It's like, hey, Nick, what do you think about Blood Angels? I don't know. They feel pretty strong against my Death Guard.
Let me put it this way.
Yeah.
Orks are the only matchup I'm worried about.
Really? Not worried about Admech?
I feel like I can play into Admech.
Worried about Tyranids?
I can certainly play into Nids.
You worried about I'll play that one against you tonight. You worried about Dakar?
I have played it a whole bunch of times, and I think I'm fine now.
All right, so
I would say, honestly, my personal opinion, the power level of the army, if you play it perfectly and you have the right list, I think is A tier. I think it is.
I'm willing to go top of B, and we can look at it as more things fall into place. Are you willing to concede that? Because I'm
willing to put it in top of B under protest.
Okay. Protest has been recorded.
Like I played it as a meme at first.
Yeah.
I sure did. I took it to a tournament as a meme, and I was like, this actually, And then I took it to Orlando, and I was like, oh, okay, this is actually a real army.
Yeah.
And then I took it to Crucible, and I was like, you know what? Now I'm like figuring out matchups and things like that. And I'm like, you know what? I think I do pretty good into Grey Knights. I think I do pretty good into this, that, and the other thing. And I think it's actually a strong army. I think you just have to, you get hugely punished for mistakes.
Yeah, that's the thing is that I don't think it's, I know,
so just
we look at the top.
Just to clarify why I think it's a strong army. You have multiple jump pack units that you can take. You're not restricted to just Vanguard vets. You have good 2-up armor save. You have you can take 7 jump pack units. Regular Marines cannot do that. In addition, you hit ungodly hard, which helps you play a trading play style where you take the center of the board, you hide behind terrain, and you just play for objectives constantly. And you have really, really good characters, really good characters. You have characters other Marine chapters would take if they could, and they can't.
Sure.
And you have some decent strats in Angel's Sacrifice, which is honestly, love that stratagem. So good.
Yeah.
You don't have a lot of tools, but you have exactly the tools you need to play a board control-y, points holdy, tradey play style.
I'm worried that they rely on the GW train.
They are really helped out by GW train. I will say I would be taking them to Warzone if Orks were not a thing. I would be. Just 100%. I just would.
All right. Well,
I mean, Sisters do not like Orks even less than Blood Angels.
That's true. Neither of them like Orks. Here's a question for you. Black Templars. Jack Templars.
Bottom of my heart, I don't think they're better than Blood Angels.
Oh my god, I think they're much better than Blood Angels.
I think they're in the top half of Marine Codexes. I think they're fine. I don't think they're better than Blood Angels. I really don't. I think I'm the only one who appreciates the power the Blood Angels bring to the table.
Yeah.
I think that's really what it is.
It is, because I sure don't appreciate it.
I know you don't.
It appears that 61% of their opponents don't appreciate it.
That's mean. You don't need to say that. No, I mean, the thing is, I'm willing to admit Codexes are better than Blood. I think White Scars is better than Blood Angels. I think their Deathwatch is better than Blood Angels. I think that...
See, but I agree. But I think that Black Templars are better than some of those.
I don't believe that at all.
You haven't lost a game with Black Templars yet.
True. I played 4, and they were against your guard. I think they're good. They're really good.
You also beat my sisters and...
I did shellac your sisters.
Yeah,
But still.
Oh my god.
You want my opinion?
Okay, I do.
They're good. They're in the top half of Marines.
Okay.
They don't have tools.
Okay. Do you think A or B?
They're definitely worse than Blood Angels to me. Blood Angels are fast. Black Templars are slow. That is my breakdown.
Oh man.
Black Templars are in the top
Black
half.
Templars have guns, and Blood Angels don't.
They don't have any better guns than Blood Angels do.
You
just don't take the guns in Blood Angels because they're bad. Seriously, they have no better guns.
I'm willing to make the concession. We're gonna come back to this at the end. We're gonna argue over all the Space Marine chapters. I'm willing to put them below Blood Angels.
Okay.
I disagree under protest. Protest.
Blood Angels aren't an A, and that's under protest.
All right. All right, one more Space Marine chapter for you before we get into some non-Space Marines. Space Wolves, even. Jaime Paris has done really well with them. We've seen them pop up occasionally and do well. They were kind of lambasted when they came out before everyone realized that there are not actually any wolves in the Codex Space Wolf supplement, nor are there Space Wolves. There are only successors who don't have wolves.
That's correct.
And once you do that, once you are just a generic vanilla Marine Codex with like 1,000,000 hits every time you swing in combat, you're actually pretty good. Good relics, good strats.
Not bad.
Just ignore the data sheets except for
a
the
lot of
cycle.
fights last, which matters less than people think it does, but it doesn't not matter. Like, it matters.
I still think wolves are in the top half. See, the awkward part
Everything's
is that
in the top half.
I know that that's because you're throwing things off Blood Angels. I think Space Wolves are worse than Ultramarines and worse than Black Templars.
I think that's true.
And I think they're better than Blood Angels.
I think they certainly aren't. Like, they just aren't.
Oh, Jack.
I understand. I'm the only one who's managed to make them work. I hear you. But I'm telling you, from where I can see,
Look,
Blood Angels have a lot of tools that don't translate to just sprint across the board at your opponent.
We have already put Blood Angels where they are. I'm not fighting the Blood Angels anymore. Do we want to put Space Wolves right here?
And again, this is literally just, if you play Blood Angels perfectly, I think that's the way that they pan out. Obviously, they have a 26%, 39% win rate or whatever. I know that.
Yep.
I'm just telling you.
Yep. Kyle Lamperes, I'm with you 100%.
I know. I knew that was going to be my unpopular opinion.
Yeah, and
I know that.
I'm going to revisit it at the end, but we're going to get through some of the chunks first. So we're going to drop Space Wolves right here, and we're going to move on to Chaos Space Marines. So I think Chaos Space Marines are going to be C tier. I don't think that they're good, but they've had 2 different builds that have had some success, which is actually, honestly, 3. They've had the Emperor's Children, which got a 5-1 at SoCal. Mark has won in GTU with them. He's placed top 4 at a major with them. So Emperor's Children with Noise Marines can be very good. It's really fallen out with Orks, and I think that has kept it from being popular. But also, we've seen Iron Warrior like Demon Engine spam. We've seen the Lord of Skulls pop up occasionally as like a counter to Orks. Green Blood Crusade, I'm with you, but we're going to move on and revisit.
I'm telling you where I see the peak of the faction.
Yeah.
But continue. I know.
I think Chaos Space Marines are C tier between Demons and Guard.
I think that's accurate. One wound just really hurts them so bad.
Like, they're ahead of Guard because Chaos Space Marines have won a major in the past couple months. They won Warzone Houston. And I gotta respect, if you got a major win, that bumps you up a little bit from where you were.
Yes.
And they were down here.
Chaos Marines they haven't gotten love for a while. They really need it.
Yep.
I think that's about where we're at.
Next up is Craftworlds. Craftworlds is weird. I think pure Craftworlds is overpriced for what it does and too fragile and doesn't play the mission as well as it should.
I think your game into Nick the other day is a perfect example.
It plays secondaries very well.
It really does. It plays primaries really well too.
Plays your opponent's primary. Well, that was the Harlequins.
Was that the Harlequins doing it?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
His Craftworld didn't do anything. It was a unit of spears that died in a Farseer. That's it.
Ooh, yeah, okay.
Yeah, when I put it like that, yeah.
Yeah, that does hurt.
Craftworld brings really good indirect. I honestly think they have the best custom successor thing in the game. I think it's better than Necrons. Master Artisans and Ignore Cover.
Master Artisans and Ignore Covers
is insane.
Pretty phenomenal. We'll see how they are. Like, obviously, I think they need a good look. Hey!
Well, C. I do think Craftworlds are going to fall bottom of C tier. I think they're better than Guard because they have more play as an ally in winning lists. Again, we saw a major won by Craftworlds with Harlequins being the bulk of it. But the Craftworlds were definitely contributing.
Yes.
So I'm willing to put them C tier between... I actually think I put them ahead of Chaos Space Marines.
They don't feel like a complete codex to me.
No, they don't.
They feel like a decent 700-point ally.
Yeah, well...
And you can get good stuff out of that. But I think as a full 2,000-point list, I don't see it.
So are we going on the pure? Are we considering the ally? I think we go mostly on pure.
I think
that keeps Craftworlds to C tier. But I think that as an ally, they are much better than as pure. Much better.
I think as an ally, they're in C. Like, they're okay.
I mean, like,
we even codex.
We even see like Dark Eldar and Craftworlds get like good alliances in.
It's true.
Yeah,
it's true.
Yeah, well,
I'm willing to leave them there.
I
think as a codex, I think Chaos Space Marines and Guard are more powerful. Eldar just run out of stuff.
Really I agree. It's just that because you've got the ally with some other stuff, and again, I'm giving them credit for a major win.
True. Part of a major win.
Where a partial major win, but that is much more than Guard have right now.
Yeah. Fair enough.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Yeah, it's still keeping them solidly below a lot of the pure armies above. All right, let's get ye old Thousand Sons.
This is going to be my second unpopular opinion of the batch.
Okay, you know what? Give me your take. What are you thinking?
Bottom of B tier.
Bottom of B.
Bottom of B.
Bottom of B. Below generic Space Marines for
Below
Thousand
generic
Sons?
Space Marines.
They definitely have some rough matchups, but they have some interesting points. I'm a little bit higher on them than I was after an episode of The Art of War with Liam Hackett from Down Under.
Where he just jammed 40 rubrics in a list.
Yeah, but he keeps winning with it.
I mean, sure, he does.
I won't argue too much.
I'm sure if we had him on, it'd be different. I mean, you know.
Yeah, for the chat, I think solo Craftworlds would be D tier, but I think their ally potential is what puts them into C tier.
Their ally potential is doing so much work for them right now.
Yes, Liam is crying right now. I think Thousand Sons are better than bottom of B.
Where would you put them?
You're not gonna like my answer.
You're gonna put them at top of B?
No, I would put them about the middle. But
I can get behind that.
Like I would put them like kind of in this spot here, like in between like Ultramarines and Space Wolves. I think they're right around.
Yeah, Morgan knows where it's at. He's like, Blood Angels, people tell me it's weak, but it can be strong. It can be strong.
Yeah.
I mean, better than base Space Marine Codex.
That's where
I can get behind that.
I'm putting them above the base Space Marine Codex. Yeah, we're using the old Thousand Sons art, but we mean the new Codex.
So the reason I don't particularly like Thousand Sons, particularly, I mean, they still do things.
I know you don't.
They feel a little like they have too much jank and not enough things. Like, they don't do that much. Like, they walk up the board at you. They can teleport a unit, but it's rubrics or the Terminators, which are not the scariest units to teleport around.
Yeah.
We're not talking like Dread Knights over here. And their melee is not great. Their durability is okay. And then they smite you a bunch.
Yeah.
And then that's what they do.
Yeah. I think that by the same metric of you trying to put Blood Angels that high because one player's made them work, I think that Thousand Sons, if we follow that same of logic, go higher because Liam has done very well with them, and they have a higher overall than Blood Angels do. Blood Angels are frankly bottom of C if we ignore you. But if you take out the best Blood Angel player, which right now is you, and you take out the best Thousand Sons player, which is Liam, Thousand Sons are much better and much more consistent. Thousand Sons have multiple players winning GTs.
That's true. I mean, if you look at the numbers
and the event results.
If you look at the numbers and event results, Thousand Sons are better than Blood Angels. For sure. I'm not debating that. I can look at numbers and crunch them. Well as the next guy. I'm telling you, where I sit, the abilities that both codices provide, one is fast and has a really good ability to control the board.
Yeah.
In my opinion. Obviously, this is not his opinion. This is my opinion. They have much better ability to control the board, be fast, and do the job you need to do. As long as you take the all jump pack, like 3 units of Sanguinary Guard, 10 Van Vets, 5 Death Company, 3 characters, battalion thing.
Yeah.
Then Thousand Sons do. Now Thousand Sons have done better. So this is my tier list.
Yeah.
You know?
I want to put Thousand Sons ahead of Blood Angels.
I mean, every time we put something below Blood Angels, this common thread is going to happen. Yes. I know this. I knew it when I said it, and I'm sticking to my guns on this one.
We should have put Blood Angels last.
We should have. Not enough time for the chat to riot.
Yeah, I think honestly, the more I'm looking at it, I think I want Thousand Sons either top of B or bottom of A. Like
there's no way
multiple GT wins.
There is no way. There's no way they're bottom of A. They have no tools. John.
And instead of tools, they just have wins. Like what?
I'm saying for how the army works, they don't have things that they do. They walk at you, and then they smite you some, and they fight you some, and they shoot you some, and that has to be enough.
All right, enough Blood Angels.
Every faction analysis that is below Blood Angels is going to be forced into a Blood Angel analysis by this guy until eventually I concede out of just pure exhaustion. But I pledge to you I will not.
Oh, I'm sorry, folks. All right. Let's tell you what. We just did Thousand Sons. Let's talk Death Guard, actually. Let's put Death Guard as our next one. Smite is a tool. Here it is. Death Guard, the other Legion. I think you and I both agree that in the direct comparison, we both prefer Thousand Sons to Death Guard right now.
Thousand Sons is better.
Okay. I think Death Guard are floating right around middle of B. maybe bottom of B. They're solidly ahead of the C tier. There's no.
Do you think they're better or worse than just generic Marines?
I actually would put them slightly better.
I can agree with that. Generic Marines are very generic. We don't.
Yeah,
nobody ever plays them because you're looking at a codex and what they can do. So regular Marines with no actual units or anything, like no special units, no special rules or anything, is actually pretty generic.
Yeah, I'm actually willing to put them ahead of Ultramarines here.
Really? You think the Orc matchup hurts Ultramarines that much?
One, yes, I do. 2,000 or Death Guard actually have a decent matchup at Ultramarines, and I think Death Guard have done they've done a little more recently. Ultramarines, literally, again, I'm not counting just the best player. The second I stopped playing Ultramarines literally stopped existing. That is the memory of Ultramarines that I'm talking about.
That's true.
Like, I'm going to put Death Guard ahead of Ultramarines.
There you go.
Yep.
I can agree with that.
Yep. All right. We're not going to mention anyone in red. Let's go, let's keep throwing a couple more Marine factions in.
Dark Angels? I know you like your Dark Angels.
See, Dark Angels are weird because I think everyone thinks Dark Angels are better than they are. And I do too. I still think of Dark Angels as like an A tier army because they have so many good rules, but I can't really figure out how to do it best. Like, I can't really figure out the best way to make it happen. Terminators are good. We see them doing well. Ravenwing builds did really well. Then some points changes kind of hedged them down and people stopped playing it as much. I haven't seen a lot of movement out of Dark Angels recently because it feels like most people just aren't playing them.
Yeah, and there's not a lot of people playing them for sure. And I think they have some strong rules. They suffer from, I think, a lack of speed.
I think they belong
their better builds
somewhere in here.
I think that's true. I would probably put a Dark Angel Terminator build as more annoying than Death Guard to deal with.
You think so? Just above Death Guard? I'm not opposed to that, yeah.
I think they just play like Death Guard, but are like harder to kill.
We've got a couple people in the chat saying, it is. They're definitely a gatekeeper.
They feel very similar to Death Guard.
They do. They really do.
They really do.
Let's see. Some people are saying bottom of A tier, B tier. Chat. By the way, let us know what you think. Like, start like when I pull up this Dark Angel icon. Like, go ahead and drop those chats in there. Like, let me know what you're thinking. I'm inclined to put them. I think they're below Black Templars.
Yeah, I think at some point we're gonna have to break up B tier.
Agreed. There's a lot. The thing is, though, it's a logjam of Space Marine chapters right now.
It is, for sure.
So as we keep adding, we're definitely going to have to slide some up and down. But I'm fine starting here.
I mean, we can figure that out.
So I'm inclined to put them right below Black Templars, above Death Guard. Is kind of what I'm feeling for Dark Angels. They haven't had really. They really haven't done anything recently. Yes, this is Black Templars, right?
They have.
That is the
we
very
don't have
old
the updated art.
Black Templar art.
Yeah. Very cool art too.
Yeah. All right. One last Space Marine chapter. Screw it. We're gonna skip it. Genestealer Cult.
No, we have two.
I meant like
one
before
in the block.
Yeah, I'm gonna break up the block and put Genestealer Cult in. I am of the opinion, and there's a new Genestealer Cult codex coming in the next month or so.
Yes.
I'm of the opinion that Genestealer Cult is the worst army in the game. And I really hate to say that.
You're not going to find any arguments.
And we got to look at pure versus army here and decide what we're talking, because I think Genestealer Cult is a fantastic patrol.
I think 120 points for 2 blips that can become 5 blips, or 5, I know how to count. 5 blips is all that Tyranids want, really, out of Genestealer Cult, and that's it.
Yep. I think Genestealer Cult is the best 165 points in the game.
I think that they are.
And
165, really?
It's 2 Acolyte squads and a Magus.
Maybe
that's all I want.
Guard commander and 3 squads of Scions.
Yeah, I really like blips, man.
Blips are really good.
Yeah. No, I'm putting Genestealer Cult. One day, Genestealer Cult are rising soon. Right now, they're subterranean. They're plotting. Genestealer Cult, they're going to go from D to S if I have my way. I don't actually know what the rules are, but I'm hoping.
GSC number 1 at being bad.
We actually looked at 40k stats because Jack was like, give me a little lip this morning.
I was like, I don't know if they're literally the worst army, and John was like, all right, let's pull up the last finishes in the last year, and there were none for
GSC. And apparently, according to 40kstats.com, Genestealer Cult have not had a top 4 in the last 11 months. And that...
I feel like we should make a distinction about how we're figuring out some of these.
Yeah.
There are armies that will just absolutely ragdoll the mid tables.
Yeah.
Death Guard, in my opinion, Thousand Sons,
Mm-hmm.
whatever, and Dark Angels are those armies. Mm-hmm. They will just walk through people at the mid tables.
Yes.
No questions asked. But I think armies that top tier players tend to play, played by top tier players, have more tools, more mobility,
100%.
And have the ability to exploit the openings that the slower, more durable armies have.
Yep.
Which is why I place those armies lower. And I place more mobile, more tool, like armies that have more things that they can do to get around problematic matchups. I place those higher. That is why. That's why I think Thousand Sons, that's why I think Death Guard, that's why I think Dark Angels are a little lower. Whereas they are mid-table monsters. They will walk right through you. But
yeah, look, I am rooting for the Genestealer Cult Codex to save them. I am ready. I was building some wolf quads earlier because we're doing this at the hobby desk. I'm very excited about Genestealer Cult, but right now, I think we gotta wait a little bit more for Genestealer Cult.
Yes.
All right, let's rack out another Space Marine chapter real quick. Deathwatch had some interesting stuff. They were a really good army, especially when Dark Eldari came out and were menacing people. Deathwatch became a good counter.
Yeah.
They got a new army of renown that I haven't seen make waves competitively so far, but
not yet.
But there's still some things to figure out.
Yeah.
I think Deathwatch again lands in this nebulous giant morass of Space Marine chapters in B tier.
I don't think so.
No?
I think they're an A.
You think Deathwatch are an A?
I think Deathwatch are an A.
Okay.
I think they're the best shooting Marines.
Okay. I think they're definitely one of. So if they're an A, I think they're the very bottom of A.
I do think that's correct. I think that's correct. I think they're better than Blood Angels.
All right. We are in agreement. Perfect. What's the third from left in B tier? 1, 2, 3. This is Black Templars. This is the old Black Templar that's very, very old. We just don't have the new one. Sorry. I'm willing to do Deathwatch bottom of A. We can again look at.
I have another Marine chapter I want to join up there.
Okay.
I think that there's another one that's clearly in my mind better than Blood Angels.
Yep. So I'm gonna go Harlequins next. Harlequins are another weird one where I think they are the most. Oh man, this is another one that's really hard to do pure, but can be very good with an ally. Like we saw. So we saw Harlequins and Craftworld together win a major like 2 weeks ago, and it would feel weird to not put either of them high because they're both incomplete codexes.
Yeah.
Because like if I'm doing pure Harlequins, I'm thinking the literal bottom of B or top of C. But then if you consider, I don't know, when they take a Craftworld ally, like those 500 points plus this Harlequin list, now I'm thinking more like upper top of B, maybe even A, but probably B. I don't think they're making A.
No, they're definitely not making A.
Yeah,
that's not a question.
It's like, but again, this is a tough one.
They might be better than just basic Marines if you take the two armies together. Basic Marines is kind of not great, to be honest. It's only when you add the supplements in, which you do because obviously that's how Space Marines work.
Yeah.
I could see them A tier and B tier.
There's more A tier coming. Don't worry. The armies are in a weird order, but there's some A tier coming.
Also, Kyle, I would say it's, in my opinion, I think Deathwatch is the better Black Templars. If you're taking pure mech, I think Deathwatch are better at it. Black Templars opens up some play for like infantry based builds that I think Deathwatch don't do. I think the Army of Renown for Deathwatch is definitely worse Black Templars for sure.
Yeah, 100%.
But I think like the 5 to 6 Dreadnought build in either of them, I think is better in Deathwatch because you just hit way harder at shooting.
I like better Black Templars.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I like the tricks. All right, so we're getting some answers between above Death Guard and below Ultramarines. So this pack of B seems to be the consensus. I think I'm gonna put them above Death Guard.
Really? Okay, that is not where I would have put them. But that's
where would you
fine.
put Harlequins?
Probably at the bottom of B or top of C.
Would you put them like? Because I think I put them ahead of Ultramarines again. It's Ultramarines have done nothing.
Ultramarines
have not made a relevant, but they have not done a single thing.
I mean, that Ork matchup, I understand you don't want to play them like.
And the Grey Knight matchup, and the Adamec matchup.
Okay,
they still done Drukari, but like that's the only thing Ultramarines do. I'm gonna leave them there. I'm willing to put my Ultramarines down. I'm willing to do that. Let's knock out another Space Marine chapter. How are there so many of them? Imperial Fists.
Somehow worse than Codex Marines.
They're 100% worse than Codex Marines. I think Imperial Fists are going to be the bottom of the Marine chapters.
That's just a statement.
I'm actually willing to put them below Craftworlds. They do nothing for them.
Yeah, they don't do anything.
Yeah, I'm willing to put Imperial Fist C.
Listen, below generic Space Marines literally doesn't make any sense, but it's a statement. It is Marines as a chapter, Marines as an army kind of belong in B tier. Just as like, here's the average Marines is just B tier.
Yep.
But Imperial Fists is just not good.
Yeah. So yeah, I think Imperial Fists. I think because they're just not very good. Necrons. I actually think that they're the top of C.
You think they're top of C?
I think that they're better than demons. The OBSEC push is pretty good. So people, tell me what you think about.
And yes, I understand. Imperial Fist can't actually be worse than generic Marines. Generic Marines is not an actual codex that exists.
That was just a grade for Marines as an aggregate, like the whole of Marines.
Like kind of an average of Marines. Like Marines, here's generally where Marines fall as B tier, but Imperial Fists are...
Yeah. So, Necrons.
Not where it's at.
Let us know what you all think about Necrons. I think Necrons, I think they're worse than Marines. I think that I still think they're better than demons, but that's a close one for where Necrons fit in here. This is what I'm between, is Necrons versus demons. Do you have a strong opinion on Necrons versus demons?
No.
Not at all?
Demons are probably more versatile than Necrons. Necrons kind of only have one thing, so if they're roughly even, I'd say.
Yeah. Ooh. Yeah. I think demons have Necrons.
I think that's right. Iron Hands are pretty good.
Yeah.
They're not bad. They're definitely... So there's some codexes that are good because they're 9th edition... Like, there's some codexes that are bad because they're 8th edition codexes. This is an army that's actually good because it's an 8th edition codex. A lot of things apply to vehicles that otherwise don't in other armies. A lot of core locked... Like, there's nothing that's core locked, pretty much. There's some, but there's not that many. So I could see like a full I'ma shoot you, I'ma be stupid build being top of B or bottom of A. I would say top of B. I don't think it's quite the same.
Okay.
I think Deathwatch Ranking is like a real...
Yeah, I think right here feels good for Iron Hands. They've definitely got some good play. We've seen them do well, especially in Europe.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we can do that. Let's see. Let's knock another one. Imperial Knights. Golly, I love them. I think top of C. I actually think
really
they're better.
Top of C.
I think they're better than Chaos Demons.
They felt pretty strong when I played them to...
Yes, it's just that I love Imperial Knights.
Yeah.
And I absolutely love them. I just feel like, I feel like Imperial Knights just, they run into that situation where you're just like, oops, this happened, and it's over. Like, where like the things I ran into were like, there was just no choice around it. Where it was like, oh man, a series of 5 individual dice went against me and the game ended.
Yeah.
Whereas
there's some armies that are like that.
Yeah, and Knights,
a lot of the durability armies, if their durability just doesn't show up, like...
Yeah. Like, my Knights are normally durable, and then I had 1 Incubi do 9 damage to a Knight.
2 Dark Knights just do 11 to a Knight with no rerolls, and I'm just like...
An Incubi? 1 Incubi, 9 damage to a Knight, and I lost the game. And I'm like, oh, this can just happen because you're playing Knights.
The main thing with Knights is they can't hide.
Yeah.
So if the dice start going against you, they keep going against you.
Also, Knights are, I think B tier is too crowded, and I think Knights are below.
I do think we need to split up B tier.
I think we're going to. I think
Knights are the first ripple effect of us splitting up B tier. Because I think Knights are stronger than generic Marines.
Yeah, probably. I think generic
Marines need to get bumped down.
Let's actually
like below Imperial Fists, because that's
we can't have literally everything. I think we're actually gonna need to bump some other stuff down too.
Yeah.
So let's keep going.
I do actually think Iron Hands is stronger than T-Sons. He's correct.
Yeah.
But it's fine.
All right. So Raven Guard. They're below average for Marines. I actually am going to put them below Chaos Demons. I actually think I'm putting them just ahead of Imperial Fists.
That's fair.
Yeah.
That's fair.
I think this is where Raven Guard belong. Love them. They're cool and emo, but I'm not about it. Salamanders, I think are just ahead of Raven Guard.
No, I think they're better than that.
Yeah.
I think they're in B tier.
They can
do some solid stuff.
What if
we do have to break up B tier?
What have they done recently?
Did 18 wounds to my McGarr in 1 turn, so I'm still a little bit shell-shocked off that.
Oh my god. I don't.
Fair enough.
Yeah. I'm dropping them there. All right, we're breaking. There's only a couple left. Some of these at the bottom are repeats because we had like 2 Death Guard books, 2 Drukhari books. But let's we've got four left that really matter. Start with Tyranids.
Tyranids, A tier.
I think they're top of A.
I'd say they're
I
top
think with
A.
the new Octarius rules, I would have put them like top of C. I think they just catapulted past everything wearing power armor without even blinking. I think they literally all of this is wearing power armor.
Their damage just
skyrocketed,
and their mobility's always been good.
Yeah,
and they're really hard to kill turn one with blips. So
I think putting Salamanders below Necrons was disrespectful.
I didn't see that.
Sorry, guys.
that's a wild take.
That was definitely my bad. Man, so
White Scars.
This is so crowded by all the Marine chapters.
Yeah. I mean, they are real. Like really are separate armies.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I would say White Scars are A.
I think White Scars are. I would actually put them as the best on B. However,
really? All right, but they're definitely better than Deathwatch. In my opinion.
Yeah, probably.
I was going to put them as the best Marine chapter.
You think they're?
Yeah, I think that.
Okay. Yeah, but they do have a couple hard matchups. They're really rough into Orks. Orks splatter them.
That is a problem.
Orks splatter them.
As I said, my only matchup I'd be concerned with Blood Angels is Orks.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing with White Scars.
Yeah.
Orks just go.
I actually think we have Deathwatch too. I kind of want to drop both.
I mean, if White Scars is not, if you think White Scars is not an A, like Deathwatch shouldn't be an A for sure.
Yeah,
I think White Scars are better.
All right, let's knock out the last three armies or last two armies and get them on the table.
Yep,
and then we can look at ratcheting this whole thing down.
Have a talk. Yeah. Tim, the way at least I am going off of how I'm ranking these is not off podium finishes or win percent or anything like that.
But we're taking it in mind.
Do it.
I think it deserves to be mentioned, but I don't think that we make it the only criteria.
Right. I think, win percent is a factor. It's pretty easy to do a tier list. So you just go off win percent, you just rank it in order to win percent, and then that's it. Yeah. I think it's based off where I personally consider the power level of an optimally played, optimally designed list to actually be. Because those don't you don't see a lot of those out in tournaments. You see a lot of people with unoptimal lists playing them poorly, and that drives win percentage way down.
Yeah, which is weird because 1 year ago, 12 months ago, I think White Scars were the best army in the game.
Yeah,
and I think it's just slowly getting chipped down, and Orks definitely kicked White Scars down a little bit further.
They definitely booted them.
Definitely,
I think
they booted them.
Anytime. Or most of the time when you look at this and it doesn't seem to make any sense, like why is this above this? It's because, like, in my opinion, if you play both armies 100% correctly, the one that's higher is a bigger threat than the one that's lower.
Yeah. All right. Let's grab another one here. Drukhari. I think we can agree that they're somewhere in S. They have the highest win rate in the game. Just looking at that. Highest win rate in the game has to go in S tier, I think.
They are 100%.
They win a lot of tournaments still. Even when the counters emerge, we still see them winning. Like, yes, we're like, oh, Orks are now a hard counter to Drukhari, but they're still winning majors after Orks. The question for me is where in the context of S are they?
So I think we can put the next army on the table too and have a discussion about the top four.
Grey Knights, you think are S?
They're S.
S, done.
In my opinion.
I agree.
Especially because I think they have good to decent matchups into the other top four. It's like their biggest asset.
Yeah.
Because I think optimally built and played, I think they just do horrible things to Drukhari.
Yeah.
They get angles really, really, really well. They warp around the table, and their guns are perfectly suited to killing them.
So,
in my opinion.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm with you on that. So let's look at the four S tier armies. Tim, that is a great point, and I'm going to actually revisit that in a moment once we're done with this. So
we've gotten all the armies on the board at the moment. Now we can start to mess around.
Okay, so let's start here. All right, of the four S tier armies, I am voting out of mech number 1.
100%.
Easy.
Argument for me.
Easy.
Done. Bing.
We look at number 2. I am inclined to put Drukhari there. I think that Drukhari actually have slightly harder matchups into both of these that I'm suggesting we put a little below them. The big thing for me is that Drukhari does not lose to this whole thing at the bottom here. All of this, they can't actually see my mouse. Everything below
A through D tier, Drukhari have better matchups into. That's a fact for sure.
Yep.
But they have bad matchups into Orks.
And Grey Knights.
Matchups into Grey Knights.
I think the Grey Knight matchup is hard, but it's not unwinnable. I think Orks is really just, are they going to speedwalk you? How badly are they going to do it? I
mean, the way I really consider this is AdMech. is in its own tier above
Admech is
Admech's an Admech tier.
No objections.
Yes. And then I think the other three are pretty even. I think Drukhari, Grey Knights, and Orks are all pretty even.
Yeah.
And then I would say now we get down to A tier.
Yeah.
So that's I could see any ordering really. I think in my personal head, like how good the armies are, I'd say like Grey Knights, then Drukhari, then like how likely I am to take him to a tournament, like in that order probably, but they're very similar.
Yeah. So I'm willing to do it like this: 1, 2, 3, 4. I feel like Grey Knights are more reliable than Orks. Orks have the raw power to beat anyone above them, but they also can randomly lose to some stuff below them.
Yes. And they're
just the least reliable of the top four.
Exactly. And you can't translate skill into Orks nearly as well as you can into other
hard
armies.
to do, yeah.
Yeah.
Also,
people have had tons of time to learn how Drukhari play and to play against them.
Yep.
So they are still a 60% win
and they're
rate.
still there.
Yeah. So, and they're still winning tournaments, and they're still just an absolute bear to play against anytime you do.
Things that I look at that I'm unhappy with here. I think that we have put Thousand Suns too low. I think they're bottom of A. I know you don't like them. However,
Wait, what are we? Thousand Suns?
I think Thousand Suns are bottom of A.
I understand I have an opinion that's out of the norm on this one.
Yeah.
I don't respect Thousand Suns at all.
Yeah.
I tried playing them when the Codex came out. I played against them a couple times, and they just don't seem to do very much at all. If you want to move it up, that is totally fine.
Yeah.
That's okay. My personal opinion is that they are further down than where we even had them before.
I know. Well, I know we disagree on some things on this tier list.
Yes.
So the People's Panzer, that for me is a perception because they feel like the hardest to beat.
Yes.
We see that Admech lose, but like on the table, top player against top player, it feels like Admech almost always has the edge.
I would say playing against the rest of the top tier is one thing, but when I play against Siegler, playing something else, it's fine. It's a game. When I play against Siegler playing Admech, I feel like I have no way into that game.
Yep.
And it doesn't matter what army I'm playing.
Yep.
It doesn't matter what I'm doing. It's just I'm iced out of that game.
Yep.
And it's a different feeling to other codexes.
Yep.
Even when I was losing to Liquefier Dark Elves, you know, that was the last time I felt that feeling. Was like
Yeah, Paul, I agree. We need to get a Harpster versus Thousand Suns grudge match. I'm not gonna even lie to you. I thought about playing with like Nick and Richard and not telling Jack for a couple games and like practicing some Thousand Suns and then putting them against Blood Angels on the stream.
Like I could definitely be wrong.
To do it.
I've tried to build the army for a little bit. Maybe I was doing it wrong. Definitely was. And I played against them, and you know, maybe I utilized player skill or whatever in order to make that work. So I could just have a biased opinion of where Thousand Suns are.
Yep.
I'm just saying that's my opinion.
Yeah, it's fair. Let's do we want to bump anyone down to D just to shrink C tier a little bit?
I think there's such a jump between D and C at the moment.
Yeah.
I
think
like Chaos Knights.
Chaos Knights have a higher win rate than Card. I bet.
Yeah. In terms of gatekeeping,
that's true.
Kyle, in terms of gatekeeping potential, Orks are in their own tier. Orks are better than Admech.
That's true. Yeah,
like they are 3 tiers above Admech in terms of how much they gatekeep your army.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. The difference was there that I just put I put Thousand Suns a little bit higher just in. Yeah, it's mostly semantics, but yeah, it's just putting things a little bit higher. I think we were a little too. I think we were a little too down on Thousand Suns. I know you don't like them much. I respect them. It's tough to rank them though. So other than again the conglomerate of Marines that are right around the middle, like we could put Salamanders a little bit higher because I
think Salamanders do deserve to be a little higher. They're not bad. They have decent rules.
I was also thinking that we should drop some of these Marines a little bit lower.
Yeah.
Salvagon is asking about a rating for full Chaos Soup. I don't really know what that looks like right now because I think that Chaos Demons is just better than Chaos Soup. Because Salvagon, I'm gonna be honest. Like I know the traditional Chaos Soup, I feel like we're not seeing it much at all.
We're not
because I feel like the people that are usually doing demons have gone into full demons, Death Guard and Thousand Suns break off as pure. I don't see that soup much. We occasionally see a Nurgle like soup list with like Plague Burst Crawlers and Nurgle Demons.
Yeah. I will say there's a couple interesting things in here.
Fists of D's.
One is, can we define gatekeeping? And that is, there are a list of orcs out there. There's an orc list out there. Mm-hmm. Buggies, planes, guns. And it doesn't matter who you're playing against.
Yep.
If you're not prepared for it, it will table you.
Yeah.
If it goes first and you're not prepared for it, you won't last the turn. So what that means is that every single list going into a tournament is either orc ready or it's not.
Yeah. So another way to put this is a gatekeeper list is like something where it's like you have to be this tall to ride.
Yes.
So if you want to get to the top table of a tournament, you're not going to play a gatekeeper there. But, we're talking about T-Whip, tournaments winning position. That's a stat they use a lot on 40K stats. That is specifically something that like it's like what are you getting in those first 4 games to get to that point? So that's a tough one, but like your first couple games can be against anything. Who won their first 2 games and now you have to play against it to get to top table. That's a gatekeeper. That's like I don't expect to ever see Imperial Knights win a major. But if I go to a major, there is a very real chance I play against Imperial Knights if I'm not ready for it. My sister's army that could win a major could get slapped down by Knights if I'm not ready.
Yes.
And Orcs are simultaneously top tier and a gatekeeper. And that's a terrifying combo.
It's not great.
Real quick, I did want to give a shout out on that super chat. If you scroll down. There you go.
There you go.
Yeah, thank you so much, Liren.
There was another person who was commenting about the same, but Liren said, "What do you think of the Thousand Suns matchup versus S tier?" And I think it's not great.
I think Thousand Suns suffer a lot into Drukhari.
Yes.
And I think that they suffer into Grey Knights.
They suffer a lot into Grey Knights, and Orcs have a lot of damage 3.
They do, but I think they're not great into Orcs, I think, but they have a little bit of play. If you can buff 1 unit up, make it -1 damage, and you have the CP to sustain it, you're going to take some hits. If you can survive and grow models back, maybe you can weather it through. You don't do it 50% of the time, in my opinion. I don't think it's like a 50% at all.
I think also if they go first before your defenses are up, you're just going to get every Terminator brick you have slapped into oblivion.
That's a very dark timeline.
It's not great.
It's a dark timeline.
Going down, I think... There we go. This comment here by Christopher actually sums up exactly why I'm rating both Thousand Suns and Blood Angels. I think any army that has speed and jump packs and melee is better than Thousand Suns, and that is my opinion.
Christopher Helgren is actually
perfectly.
It's actually Jack's burner account. Jack's been like under the table, like texting on his phone, like, yeah, that'll get him. That's what I'm going to say.
That'll get him. They want to. Can he have the name Christopher and Jack at the same time? Nobody can tell.
No one knows.
No one knows.
Easier. Oh, Liren had the opposite. Easier versus Granites, Drukhari, harder versus Admech. I think Admech is always hard. I think Admech's hard for everyone, though.
Admech has no bad matchups at the moment.
Yeah. Tim Penny put it well. Gatekeepers are that boss fight that you face halfway through a game. Yeah, it's not the final boss. Gatekeepers are not the final boss. But it's like the build-up of like, yeah, are you ready for this? Like, hey, have you been putting your upgrades in the smart spot, or are you a little bit dumb?
Yes.
Salamanders are not missing. Salamanders I currently have right here. In the middle of the sea. This was actually a place that, Tim was disagreeing with me on that one.
Salamanders are in a weird place.
I think at some point, honestly, we're going to have to do a separate Marine tier list.
Marine tier list has to happen. It kind of invades a normal tier list.
It does, because
suddenly half the armies are like weird flavors of Marines. Because I think Salamanders have a lot of tools, but nobody's... Like, I see the list of things that they can do, and nobody's really managed to put them together in a way I'm happy with. So it's like a lot of potential, but I've never seen it really tapped.
Yeah. To be clear, there are 31 armies up there, and 12 of them are loyal Space Marines.
Yes.
And with Grey Knights, it's 13. It's like, that's a lot of power armor. So I think at some point soon, we're going to have to do a separate Marine tier list to really settle this one. It's hard to put them all down. Thomas, I saw that typo. We know where Jack and I are hung up on Blood Angels. That's fine. We've said our pieces several times.
Yeah, we've each expressed how we feel about it.
Yeah.
And I think that's about it.
Yeah.
Obviously, I think it's a little higher. John thinks it's a little lower. We're meeting in the middle. This is how you get along with your friends. Put her here, Chief.
No. Put her there. All right, so this is a weird thing where, again, I'm like looking at, should we have just the generic Space Marine Codex if it's on here? I think I'm just going to take it off.
I think it served its purpose at the start, which was to give a baseline when we were rating codices, and now it's not doing anything at all. So I think we can pull it off.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Salamanders could be like Deathwatch before people discovered Dread Spam. I think that's possible, but we have discovered Dread Spam. We haven't discovered Salamander, I don't know, Eradicator Spam. Or
we have whatever's
coming.
Hey, maybe, honestly, Salamander Eradicator Spam might actually be good.
It's not bad. It hurts. What needs to happen to break the Adamant Crown?
Points and rules. They have too many of both.
Their things cost too little and do too much.
Yeah.
And at a certain point, it just is oppressive.
Yes. Admech. Oof.
Admech. Why do their planes
hopefully
reroll everything and are -1 damage? Why does everything have like a 1-up armor save? It's just...
Tim, that's a fair critique. One of the problems I think with Salamanders is like, anytime I look at Salamanders and how competitive are they, I immediately look at the units I want to take and be like, this is just better as another chapter. Because I feel like Salamanders don't uniquely do anything that makes me want to play Salamanders.
It's true. They don't really have their own unique playstyle. They
really
have like
don't.
units that are good, and they have packages that are good.
Yeah.
They have like a 300-point package that's good. They have like a 400-point package that's good. And if you jam enough of them together, you have 2,000 points.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like there's anything cohesive there. Yeah. So we have Space Wolves at the absolute bottom of B.
Bottom of B, not C.
I think I'm fairly happy with where this ended up.
I'm fine with where Space Wolves is at. Ultramarines, I would put a little higher, but you're the expert, so I'll leave that up to you.
It's their ability to play against the top stuff, because I feel like the S tier armies, Ultramarines flat lose to 3 of them almost every time.
But so does Sisters.
Yes, but I think Sisters are more reliable into the field and have done better. And like, again, I know we're looking, okay, me personally, I'm not looking at just what a top player can do. I'm also looking at the field, where Sisters I don't think are like super S tier amazing, but I am considering the win rate, because Sisters do have a higher than 50% win rate.
They do.
They have a lot more event wins than Ultramarines. And I feel like they're more like, and if I was going to go try to get another one, I would still feel better about my odds of doing it with Sisters than Ultramarines.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, I'm convinced. Yeah.
Yeah. I kind of want to put Salamanders a little higher. I just don't want it to be a logjam of Marine chapters.
Salamanders are hard, man. They're hard to rank.
Yeah, they're hard to rank.
They're really hard to rank, because they're not good, but they're not bad. So it's like, do I want to put them low or do I want to put them high? Like, where do I want to put them?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's definitely not a lost cause for Thousand Suns into Dark Eldar. It's not like it's an auto loss. However, I think that it is
so bad.
It's a very difficult one, because the Warp Flamers can only carry so much, and everything else is happening to you.
And Warp Flamers are also expensive, so every time that you do lose a unit, it's like, oh my god, that was 120-something points for 5 dudes. Like, because they'll take an 80-point unit and slam it into an 150-point unit and delete it.
Yep.
And they can just do that from a distance that you can't match.
Yeah.
Over and over and over again. And that's the main problem with Drukhari, honestly, is they just post up like 24 inches away, and then they can just table you. They can from there just charge you and table you.
Tyler is asking monobugs versus Force the Hive Mind. So I personally, Forces, as far as I'm concerned, is 1850 and also a few Genestealer Cult units.
Like, it's like
and it's so close to pure Tyranids that I'm putting them right next to each other. It's really just Tyranids. Do you want to spend 150 points and 2 CP for a little bit of trash, 1 smite, and some blips?
Yeah,
because that's what you're getting. There's nothing else in there.
Yeah. Generally, I tend to rate armies higher if they're faster, because that gives you more options. Slower armies, even played by the best players, tend to perform worse than faster armies.
Yep.
The difference evens out at like mid-table play, but when you get to high level play, speed is king, and so faster armies tend to just be ranked higher. So that's your Grey Knights, because they can teleport all over the place. That's your Drukhari, they're very fast. That's your Admech. It's how can I switch from how well does it switch from a plan of I'm going to table you to I'm losing, I have to play for points. And there are some armies that just can't. I think Custodes is the highest rated one that just can't switch. So, and they even kind of can, because they're all OBSEC. If you take a bunch of fast stuff in there.
I know you like Custodes more than Sisters, right? Because I'll admit I like Sisters more than Custodes.
I think if we don't look at S tier, I think Sisters are 100% better than Custodians. But if we factor in
Yeah.
matchups,
I'm not passionate about it. I'm willing to believe Custodians were there. Yeah, you can have Synaptic Links and Blips, though, is the fun part. You can have both in the same list. What rating does my generic Marine army get that has preferred enemy Tau and fearsome presence? Oh, God bless you, Dominic. God bless you, Dom.
doing the Lord's work, keeping Tau down.
Absolutely. You got to do it. Preferred enemy. Oh, got to put preferred enemy Orks in there. As if that was a real thing.
Does preferred enemy take up both slots? I thought
It takes up one.
Just takes up one? Okay.
Yeah. Fearsome presence is it's the leadership debuff.
No.
Oh yeah, it is.
No.
Here's hoping for Genestealer Cult. Oh my, I really hope so.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to Custodes and Genestealer Cult. Both of them. I'm looking to play either one.
Yeah. It's wipe out Thousand Suns easily. I think that the Tyranid matchup is really, really hard to man, I think that's bad. I think Nids are so bad for Thousand Suns. Yeah.
Yes.
Tim is saying that it's disingenuous to say that it's a Nidlist because of points. Honestly, I don't think it suffers so much without the blips. I don't think
it's literally Orks going second. And that's it. The planes.
No, it's Admech going second. I don't care about Orks going first or second.
Yeah, Admech going.
It's
Admech going
Admech.
First will just pick up your Hive Guard. They pick up like half your unit of gaunts. Yeah, it's rough.
It's Admech.
It's Admech.
Orks are shooting me anyway. Like it doesn't matter.
Blips just keep the. So the thing
it's
about
getting
blips,
charged by Security Infiltrators.
In case for people who don't know, at the start of the game, Genestealer Cult puts down blips instead of units, and you reveal it either if you're going first during your movement phase, or if you're going second at the end of your opponent's movement phase. And your opponent can't go within 9 inches of the blips. So what you do is if you don't want to get tabled by planes, because Nids are pretty fragile. They didn't get any durability buffs. They're pretty fragile. What you do is you just line the edge of your deployment zone with blips, and planes can't fly into your deployment zone to see you. They just can't do it. So you get a turn of planes not being able to just lay into you the way they would have otherwise. That's why Genestealer Cult will show up in forces lists. It's why, that's why you take them. That's what blips do.
Agreed, Screen. I think Admech is the hardest matchup for bugs.
It's the hardest matchup probably for
most
armies.
Unless you have a specific hard counter, like, you know what? I think that Chaos Space Marines probably have a harder time into guard than into Admech. But that's such a not real thing. So it's okay.
There are some armies that have a worse matchup into Orks. So the worst matchups for every army can basically be summed up as either Admech or Orks. And that's just, if you've teched for Orks, it's Admech. And if you haven't, then it's Orks.
Yeah.
Yeah. I saw a comment about top 4 armies for people who, not at the top, like not at the tippity top level.
I mean, I think Space Marines is just always a good thing to collect.
Slower, more durable armies are generally better at mid-tables. So that's when Thousand Suns can really shine. They're a little complicated, though, so I wouldn't blame you. Death Guard are pretty good. Black Templars are really good at this just grindy, slow play style. They're really good at it. So are Death Guard, so are Dark Angels. Deathwatch are pretty good with all the dreads. Like, they're really strong in mid-tables. You just blow some people up.
Yep. 5-man Scarab Cult Terminator can kill an entire Tyranid warrior.
Entire Tyranid warrior.
Heck yeah, I love that.
Custodians are really good if you're starting out. They just walk through stuff. You just need to know what you need to tech for against your opponents. But I think like Telemons and a Vexilla will just bounce most armies. So you can be pretty strong with that. That's what I would say if you want to start out and you want to do your best like immediately. That's what I'd say. As you tend to get better, speed tends to win out over durability.
Yeah, agree to that. Right on, man. Yeah, I think I'm good at that tier list. It looks a little bit like it's like a staircase right now, other than the poor D tier, which is that drop off of Genestealer Cult and Tau have armies, have codexes coming soon. And Chaos Knights, I don't know of anything for you. I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Ask your opponents if you can play them as regular Imperial Knights.
I
think Imperial Knights, in my personal tier list, they'd be bumped up a little. But
you
I'm
think
not
you put them
about it.
top B? I mean,
not top B.
I'm actually
like mid
or bottom B. Okay, I'm actually willing to swap them with Blood Angels. Look at that, fuming. All right. I think that's about everything that I had to go on here.
Yeah, I think I can stand by this list. I think we disagree over some things, but I think I can stand by where the list is right now. There's one red exception, but other than that, we've beaten it to death. I think we're good. Red exception. We go earlier in the video. if you want to see us argue about Blood Angels over and over and over again.
Right on. Well, I think Roberto wants me to do the swap. Just tell you what, I'm going to do it real fast so you can screenshot it. Take that screenshot. This is the Art of Word tier list.
Put it back.
All right. You got the screenshot, everyone? Got the screenshot? Take
back.
that screenshot. Hurry up. It's gone. All right. Screenshot's gone. I'm kidding. It's there you go. I disagree, but all right.
I know you disagree.
Right on. All right. Got him. You know what? For everyone else, we're going to give you a sneak preview of December.
Oh, Genestealer Cults.
Still below AdMech.
Still below AdMech. As I said, AdMech are in the you thought you were broken tier.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think that's enough for us, so we're going to sign off now. Thank you so much, everyone, for watching this content. Really hope you enjoyed it. We had an absolute blast right here. Hopefully you'll stay tuned. We're going to have more content. On Monday, we're going to go over some tournament results from the weekend.
Sounds like fun.
We're also going to have more tier lists coming up next week. We're going to start having content on our YouTube channel every single weekday at 1 p.m. Eastern time. So if you're watching this, then clearly you're awake right now. If you're awake any Monday through Friday, check us on out. Come over, check it out. Thank you so much. Oh, Greenblood wants to see Blood Angels and FTR. I mean, if he's super chatted, I gotta just take a screenshot, folks. This is the Jack Harpster ranking.
I'm just here for this.
There you go.
I'm just here to...
Got him. All right. Thank you so much, everyone. We're gonna go ahead and call it here. Hope you all have a good one.
All right.
Bye-bye.
There's so many rules in 40K, hundreds of events, and constant updates. Skip the learning curve of Warhammer and join the pros. Art of War is led by multiple world champions with decades of success. We teach clinics, stream games, and inspire you to succeed at your favorite hobby. Join our global community of gamers just like you.